Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1487, 1487, and welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast here at Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Today we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. Hi. Enjoyed on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, and I pay for Netflix every month, so I'm wondering
Mike's Daily Podcast
if I should cancel my Netflix. I was one of the first cord cutters in the world, believe it or not.
Mike's Daily Podcast,
because I told my wife when I was married back in 2003 that if this thing happened to me where my cable bill went over the number 30, we would cancel it and all we'd watch is DVDs. And we did that. Actually, I think we let it go all the way to 40.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then we just started watching DVDs. And then one day I realized there was this thing called Hulu. So
Mike's
we watched TV shows
Daily
on that for a while.
Podcast.
Hey, isn't this an exciting topic?
Yeah!
No, I was one of the original cord cutters. Here's the one thing I learned. When people come over to your house when you're a cord cutter, they're bored because they want to watch sports. And, well, back in that time period, you couldn't watch sports over the internet. Now I think Twitter covers some sports. I think you can, through your cable, get sports. So the thing is, look who walked in. You've got to have cable or AT&T, get your internet. Here in the Bay Area, it's Comcast. And, God. I don't understand why all I want is internet, but they're always trying to, well, you know what, if we bundle in this, that, and the other thing, a little bit of cable, a little bit of look who else walked in, a little bit of this, and we'll, throw in a pillow, you'll be, it'll be awesome. Mike, buy that bundle. No, I don't want the bundle, I want the internet. That's all I want. That's what I want. I want internet. It's what he wants. Look who walked in.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the shift supervisor. Isn't that girl Ariel gonna stop by in a second?
She is. She's going to stop by and say it's the podcast picture today.
Oh boy, that's like so exciting.
Yeah. Especially since I don't have one yet.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I should grab one from... Ooh, should we go back in time? Should we go... Oh, somebody's texting me at this time. Who would be texting me at 5:34 in the morning? Oh, it's the guy I produce the show for. And he tells me he has a sore throat. So I will write back, okay, I'll take care of it. Okay. I will play... We call them evergreens. Evergreens are the things that, shows that never age. And it's also, isn't it a song by Barbra Streisand? Love, patient and evergreen. I hope you feel better. Okay. Back to you, my wonderful listener here at Café Anyway. What were we going to do? We were going to say anyway. Is that it? Anyway. Okay. Got a little sidetracked here. Oh, yeah. Let's go back to October of... What year should we go back to? Let's see. October... back in 2010, Paul McCartney did a cool little documentary, which you can find on YouTube, where he talked about Band on the Run. And I didn't realize Band on the Run was his first really successful solo album. He had put out 3 solo albums, and none of them had really been as I guess, attention-grabbing, or it wasn't the definitive, hey, this is Paul's post-Beatles successful album. And Wings, so Band on the Run, Wings was only 3 people at that point because he had lost his drummer and I think his bass player they both said, "We're out of here. We don't want playing with you, Paul McCartney." And so it was just the guy who used to be with the Moody Blues, Paul, and his wife, Linda McCartney. And so they did this album. They decided, Band on the Run, they would make it in, is it Lagos? Somewhere in Africa they went to. And there was a studio. Paul McCartney was saying, hey, EMI, which was his record label, has all these recording studios all over the world. Why don't I pick a place that I might be interesting to go to and we can have a nice time? And so he picked that location in Africa. He actually got mugged. Ooh, I found the podcast picture. This is from, I don't know when this was. So back in 2007, my then wife and I had some friends. There was a girl named Tana. And I knew Tana through the radio station because she advertised her parents owned a drugstore that was really popular. It was a mom and pop drugstore, which probably they don't own anymore since they've all been bought up by CVS or Rite Aid. This one was locally owned in Ventura. And they gave Tana her own little smoothie shop in the back of the liquor store. So Tana used to advertise on the radio station that I worked for, and every day I would give away a super smoothie of the day, but you had to call in and answer a trivia question. In thanks for that, Tana would send over a super smoothie to me, and I usually like the ones that got chocolate in them that aren't good for you. But so she sent me those. And I met her once or twice. Beautiful. Oh, Tana was radiant. That's the word, radiant. And she actually knew my then wife because my then wife was a hairstylist. And Tana actually, by sheer coincidence, my ex-wife was doing her hair. So one day Tana says to my ex-wife, hey, my husband is getting his flight certificate to become an official pilot. Would you guys like to go on a special flight with us? Because he has to log air hours. And like on Saturday, do you want to fly from Camarillo, which, by the way, the company I work for, Salem, they have their home base in Camarillo, which it's so funny because I used to live next to Camarillo for years, decades, and now here I am up in the Bay Area working for them, and that's how coincidence things work. But so the radiant Tana said, hey, do you want to go on a flight with us? And because my husband needs to log some hours. And sure, where are we going to go? Oh, we'll fly up to San Luis Obispo, eat at the airport in San Luis Obispo, and fly back, and it'll be just basically looking at the amazing view. Well, it was a beautiful day, a little bit cloudy. I think this was in March of 2007. And I was nervous as heck because I'm in a little propeller plane. I think it was a Cessna. And we take off. And he actually let me take the controls for a little bit. And just the pictures, I took a bunch of pictures of us that day. We were in pretty good shape, my wife and I at the time. We were running every day, walking every day, eating really well, eating delicious smoothies that Tana made. And we were just the happiest married couple at that point. We had been married, I think, 2 years at that point. So the pictures from that day I was looking at, and they just popped up on my computer, and I was, whoa, I remember these. I remember that day. So here's a picture. I think this is of this. I will identify as the Santa Barbara Mountains. I think this is over by the pass. What did they call that? The pass that gets over to Solvang, Buellton. When you cross over the hills there, I forget. It's been a while since I lived in Santa Barbara. I went to UCSB, but I've forgotten that. That grade will come back to me in a moment. But yeah, so that's a picture of that day flying over as we flew up from Camarillo over Santa Barbara over to San Luis Obispo. And it was, about an hour-long flight. And Tana's husband was playing bluegrass music on the headphones. He's like, yeah, I'm tapped into XM. What do you want to listen to, Mike? You used to work at a country station. Here you go. And this is awesome. Right on. Whoa. So that picture is at mikesdailypodcast.com. The clouds are hugging. I love it when clouds hug the mountains and look like whipped cream on top of them. We get that all the time here in the Bay Area as we look from the East Bay over at those poor schmucks on the peninsula. That the temperature's always so cold over there. Ooh, and you've always got traffic over there. You idiots. You pay way more in rent. Well, actually, now it's becoming more about the same here in East Bay, but they love it over there in the peninsula. They're snobs. I dated a snob over there. Never again. Was too much. Hey, Paul McCartney then created this wonderful album, Band on the Run, which he played the drums on since they had lost their drummer. And they had they wrote one song, Picasso something, was actually inspired by Dustin Hoffman, because Dustin Hoffman was working on a movie in the same area with Steve McQueen, and they hung out one night, Paul McCartney and Dustin Hoffman said, can you really write a song about anything? And Paul McCartney said, well, try me. And Dustin Hoffman said, hey, Pablo Picasso just died. And in the news article, it mentioned that he said, live life, drink wine or something. And so Paul McCartney wrote a song after that news clipping that Dustin Hoffman gave to Paul. But I had no idea that the first really big song Paul had post the Beatles was that My Love Does It Good. But that wasn't on Band on the Run. But I hate that song. Da, 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 da. My love does it good. The people loved it because it sounded like Beatles, and they were missing the Beatles at that point because they had been broken up for a while since 1969. Can I just tell you though, this is an awesome interview, and Paul McCartney is talking to this guy in his 30s. Paul at the time is, how old is he now? Well, this was in 2010. So it's just a great interview. This interviewer was right on with the questions. He had done his research. He was a good listener, unlike a lot of interviewers that I have been seeing and producing lately who don't give a ding-dang-dong about their guest and don't listen. But hey, if it's Paul McCartney, you listen good, and I don't think he lets the crappy interviewers interview him. Although probably the best interview was with Chris Farley, interviewing him going, when you said the love you make is equal to the love you take, is that true? Yeah, I think that's pretty much true, Chris. Awesome. Went something like that. So the Roy Moore thing continues on. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, Melissa Benoist, she's Supergirl. She's calling for changes in Hollywood. She says she's calling for Hollywood to change the norm after series showrunner Andrew Kreisberg was accused of sexual harassment by multiple women. When people commit crimes or harass others, they should always be held accountable, no matter what industry they work in or how much power they wield. She posted on Twitter, I've spoken up about it in the past, publicly and not so publicly, and I'll continue to do so. All of us should without fear or shame. We all need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Kreisberg is the executive producer of the CW's DC Comics series, Supergirl, which also includes The Flash and Arrow. And he was suspended last week by producers Warner Brothers Television Group in the wake of allegations. Benoist noted that it isn't uncommon in the industry, which is heartbreaking and makes her feel helpless, but she's still hopeful that she can affect change. I have not watched Supergirl. I am done with DC Comics stuff being turned into TV shows. because it turns into these long shows that go nowhere, these soap operas. There was a 4.7 magnitude earthquake that struck 22 miles east of Salinas. Hey, I'll be in that area this weekend. A magnitude 4.7 earthquake that struck Monterey County late yesterday morning. Okay. And Sessions is considering a special counsel to probe the Clinton Foundation uranium sale. You remember, I guess this all goes back to that debate where Trump was telling Hillary Clinton,
because you'd be in jail,
and that he was going to have, he would appoint a special prosecutor to look into Hillary Clinton. Well, he's finally gotten around to doing it. Attorney General Sessions is entertaining the idea of appointing a second special counsel to investigate a host of Republican concerns, including alleged wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation and the controversial sale of a uranium company to Russia, and has directed senior federal prosecutors to explore at least some of the matters and report back to him and his top deputy. This according to the Washington Post, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. And Steve Bannon said Jeff Bezos dropped the dime on Trump and his whole bus thing where he talked about grabbing women, etc. And Trump said,
wrong.
That it was
Wrong.
But Jeff Bezos also dropped the dime on Roy Moore. And Steve Bannon saying, no, none of it's true. People defending Roy Moore. Wow. And those people are fleeing. They're disappearing. You've got the Mitch McConnell saying that Roy Moore should just step down. This is just crazy. Got 5 people now alleging that he was groping women that were teenagers. They were girls. Just a horrible thing. You've heard the allegations. So Jeff Sessions, and it's all about Jeff Sessions becoming Attorney General, that Senate seat got vacated. So we have him to thank for this whole Roy Moore episode. And Trump is planning a major announcement after his Asia trip. He tweeted early Wednesday, well, it's Tuesday today, that he plans to make a major statement followed by his 12-day trip to Asia, raising speculation of a breakthrough on a trade or a new approach to North Korea. I'll be making a major statement from the White House upon my return, he said. Over the last 12 days, Trump visited key allies in the region amid the North Korea threat. It has been a while since a president has made this long of a trip. George H.W. Bush attempted to make such a long trip, and he ended up throwing up on the Japanese prime minister. So and Trump even said to the reporters that were following along with him, you guys are doing good. You're holding in there. You're actually able to keep up with me. A New Jersey man was sentenced in the Russian uranium bribe scheme. A New Jersey man, sentenced on Monday to a year and a day in prison for his conspiracy to commit money laundering in connection with his role in arranging the bribes for the awarding contracts with Russian state-owned Nuclear Energy Corporation, the U.S. Justice Department said. That's the end of the show. I want to thank you for listening. There's a bunch more. There's a poll saying national majority thinks that Moore should drop out. And national Republicans are desperate for a write-in challenger to Moore. A lot of people are saying it should be... Oh, Luther Strange. Senator Luther Strange. That's right. But you look radiant today. Warren Olney is going to be podcasting soon. And then I found out yesterday that his podcast is not going to be daily. It's going to be weekly. But he's all excited. He's like, I can be more personal. When people are... saying things that don't make any sense that I don't like anymore, I can just cut them off. I don't have to keep them on to fill up a whole segment on the radio. Yay. As we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Well, I hope you are flying through the clouds of your life, metaphorically, flying, and that you're happy is what I'm trying to say. That you're, positive, no matter what's going on in your life. Because if you're not positive, you end up sounding like I do right now, realizing that, hey, I just woke up at 4 in the morning and I'm at a radio station at 5:52 in the morning. And that life is good. And that we didn't even hear from Floyd the Floorman and John Deere the engineer. What the heck? That's all right, Mike. We didn't have anything to say. Yes, Mike. Thank you for at least acknowledging us out here at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Next time, though, we'll possibly talk a little bit more to the characters that stop by. Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Oh, hey, and they say Bed Bath & Beyond might not be around much longer. I need to follow up with that, because I got all those 20% off things that they send in the mail all the time. Oh, my gosh. And JCPenney, Mattel, The Limited, and Kmart may all be gone soon because of Amazon. Woohoo! Enjoy your day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!